Oh, I wish for spring, I wish for spring, I wish for spring.
William, here's a little spring.
Oh, we'll show you where you can get a touch of spring next on Garden Time.
Welcome to Garden Time. We're at the Wooden Shoe Tulip Farm for their annual festival.
In fact, we always know when spring really is arriving because the tulips start blooming. Later on in the show, I'm going to talk to Karen about everything that's going on in this year's festival.
And also coming up in our first hour-long show of the season, we'll be talking to you about moss control in your lawn.
And we're going to be talking about plants that add texture to your garden.
But first, taking care of your backyard birds. Did you know it's nesting season for our birds in our backyards and all over? And I'm with Darlene from the Backyard Bird Shop. And so, you know, there's so many questions about nesting. It's so exciting this time of year. So do we have to provide a house for our birds?
Well, you don't have to, but certainly you'd be missing out on a lot of joy if you didn't.
That's true.
So our cavity nesters are the type of birds that'll use a nest house. And those include chickadees, nuthatches, wrens, among some of the ones, right? And those are some of the most common ones. So this is a chickadee house, and notice that all of our houses do not have perches. Perches can be used by predators, and the nesting pair that uses this do not need a perch.
No.
They will cling to the side and they'll go right in. So you also want to have an easy to access for cleaning later in the fall.
Sure.
Having a wood and screw mounted, it's really sturdy. It's going to last you for years.
Sure,
You're going to get a lot of pleasure out of this. And so, but you're going to notice dimensions. We have some that are shorter. These are for wrens, but we always say a wren might build up its nest to be short so that this is much more shallow.
Right.
Whereas a chickadee wants it deep. And so having a chickadee house allows you 3 different species that might possibly take you up on it.
Excellent. And so if they're not going to go into a house, they're going to go into maybe shrubs or trees. So maybe don't prune too hard. I know our producer, Treese, was pruning something and she found a nest, so she stopped and backed off. So really, you have to be cognizant of what's going on.
Absolutely. Watching your yard, because a lot of birds will be using your shrubs and trees, but they'll also be using vegetation on the ground. We've had calls where people contact us and they say, oh my gosh, I just cut back a fern and exposed a towhee nest. So many of our birds will nest on the ground, but they're looking for cover. And so being cognizant of what's happening in the yard is very beneficial to our birds.
And then I see some like fuzz up here and lint,
Yes.
and so what are these?
This is my favorite subject. It's offering nesting materials. Now there's a lot to be said about just simply the stuff in your yard. Having a wild, natural area where there's mud, where you've got leaves, twigs, all kinds of stuff available, dry vegetation. But you can create a nesting station, and I can't tell you the joy. Every year we look forward to this. So we put out natural fibers. You want either animal fibers or plant fibers. You really want to stay away from dryer lint. Dryer lint is not natural, and it actually absorbs water. We've got very wet springs. Birds have a hard time keeping their young warm and dry if you put something that isn't going to insulate them. And so this is actually,
great.
yeah, this is cat hair, and we put this up every year. We have indoor kitties, and we contribute the cat hair into either a suet cage or into a brush. And if you don't have that, then we have materials that you can actually purchase here. They're plant and or animal fibers that are available.
Oh, excellent. Show us these. These are so beautiful.
So this is actually a chestnut-backed chickadee's nest. You can see here natural fur that they've used as well as moss, and they've left some of the shavings that we put in originally. This is super light.
It is, and it's the shape
of
the birdhouse.
Yes, it is. It is.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And so then what you can see here is this is a nuthatch nest that I cleaned out last fall. And they've used primarily shavings and also branch pullings. And so they're not necessarily going to use this, but many birds, including hummingbirds, will even use this.
Oh, that is so nice. So really you're giving everybody some kind of material.
You really are.
And then what about feeding? Is it a different kind of food that we're giving them this year, or should we make sure that we're doing it?
Keep it going. A lot of folks don't realize that it's really beneficial to have your feeders well stocked. Suet is a very important high fat, high protein source. When cold snaps happen in spring, insects are really hard to come by, and most of our birds, aside from the finch family, do not feed their young seed. They feed insects and or suet as an alternative. And so keeping that well stocked, but then keep the seed stock too, because finches, your goldfinches, your house finches, they regurgitate seed to their young. And so, not to mention, parents need to fuel themselves. Some of them are making multiple trips back and forth to the nest.
So we've provided some kind of nesting box or nesting material, we've fed them, and so what else can we do to protect these birds at this time of year?
Well, certainly if we know of a nest in the yard, you want to try and keep your pets in. And there will be visiting pets as well. So if you can't do that, you also have things that you can put out in the yard to protect your birds. These are devices that are motion activated, and they'll send out a sound that you and I don't hear, but the animal that you're trying to keep away from the nest will hear and will be shooed away.
That is so nice, because you're not hurting them, you're just kind of pushing them out of the area.
Yes.
And what I really love to talk about right now is about this chart that you've made that's on the website. So tell us just a little bit about that.
So this is a chart that's going to include a lot of our backyard birds. I don't have everybody on there yet, but we're working on it. And it's going to tell you timing of events in nesting season. So when nests are being built, and it's all species specific. Not everybody does the same thing. How many eggs they lay, how long it takes to incubate, who incubates if we happen to know that, and then also when they hatch, how long will they still be in the nest before they fledge. And there's additional fun information packed in there, but it's a great resource for anyone who's doing nest watching. And speaking of nest watching, Cornell Lab has a wonderful citizen science project that you can sign up for called Nest Watch.
So all that information is going to be on Backyard Bird Shop website. You can go to gardentime.tv, we'll click you over there, and you have to come out to the stores because it is just jam-packed full of all kinds of material that you could use for your friends in the backyard. Thanks so much, it's been great.
Thank you.
Garden Time is brought to you by Capital Subaru, your way on the Parkway.
Your car does more than get you where you need to go. It helps you live the life you love. At Capital Subaru, we're 100% dedicated to finding what works for you. And with a wide selection, personalized service, and plenty of perks, you won't need to go anywhere else to find it. Let us help you make the most of your day. Come shop your way on the Parkway.
Now at Capital, hurry into the Subaru A Lot to Love event and lease the fuel-efficient new 2018 Subaru Outback 2.5i CVT for just $198 per month.
Capital Subaru, your way on the Parkway.
Since 1926, the Bonide Company has worked with homeowners to make their homes and gardens beautiful. If you have a garden problem, Bonide has the answer. Don't lose the battle with weeds. The Bonide line of weed beater products will help you get a handle on your weed problems. They are active in cool weather and you'll see visible results in less than 24 hours. Visit Bonide.com to find a local retailer and to download your free Bonide Problem Solver app for your iPhone or Droid.
Come to the 16th Annual Garden Palooza April 7th at 4 Point Farms. See over 40 plant growers and garden vendors. Free parking and free admission. Enter to win a set of farm-style raised beds and containers. Garden Palooza April 7th at 4 Point Farms in Aurora. Don't miss it.
For over 100 years, Collier Arbor Care and Bartlett Tree Experts have provided tree and shrub care services to the Portland metropolitan area.
From large tree and small shrub pruning, tree removal, and stump grinding, we can handle all your tree care needs.
Our arborists diagnose and treat your toughest insect and disease problems.
We also have organic solutions for growing and maintaining healthy gardens, as well as organic nutrition for your trees and shrubs.
Collier and Bartlett, environmentally friendly since 1907.
I am out in the garden nursery with Carol, and Carol, we love coming out here at any time of the year because you have the most beautiful display gardens. So lovely. Really worth to come out to this drive to come out from the city or wherever you live to see it. And I think today you have some beautiful plants. I don't see any flowers, but what is your philosophy with this group of plants?
Well, I'm a foliage person overall. I think it's really, I love flowers, but I look at them as a bonus. I don't buy a plant just because of the flowers. I prefer to go for foliage. So I've picked a lot of things that here it's very, very early spring, they're just coming up, but they're going to give us a long season of interest with or without flowers.
Oh, okay. So what do you have?
So we'll start here. These are a couple Acteas. They used to be Simicifugas. They have beautiful foliage. This is a green, and obviously this is a beautiful dark. This is brunette. They're a wonderful color texture all season. They don't bloom until September, October.
Nice.
And then they're fragrant too.
And sun or shade?
They're actually partial shade.
All right.
Keep them out of the hot sun. Little morning sun keeps the color better.
All right, and then this one is kind of chartreuse.
Yeah, that's the same. That's a triceratops. It's another one. Comes up early, beautiful foliage, has a really interesting purple flower late in the season. Usually, this one's about August, so it's a little bit early. But so you just have most of your season is just the foliage, and then you have a really interesting flower later on.
And it looks like orchids. That one's a gorgeous one.
Yes, they're really amazing.
And then this I love because I've never seen a flower on it.
Yeah, this is an Aurelia. This is Sun King. Gets to be a huge foliage plant. They're easily 3 by 3. I've heard of mature ones bigger than that. They are supposedly have a white flower and a black berry, but I don't think I've ever seen one either. It's underneath so much you don't even see it because you're looking at that beautiful foliage.
But stunning foliage.
Exactly.
That chartreuse is gorgeous.
It
and
is.
then these look like ferns, but they're not.
They're not. That's what I love about these. These are Aruncus, and actually I like Aruncus better than Astilbes. They don't have the color range when they do bloom that Astilbe does. They have little creamy white flowers. They're much more drought tolerant and they're much more versatile. You know, Astilbes, they get too dry, that's the end of them. But I just love these are a couple different kinds of Aruncus. These are medium height. There's some dwarf and there's some large ones
And for
as
shade.
well. And they're shade as well. They're very versatile.
And then these kind of look like onions, maybe?
They are. They're an allium, so but they're more in the chive family. They're not the bulb kind. They're the more well, I take it back.
clumps?
This one has a bulb. This one actually is a clump. This is a little nodding one. Has a beautiful little delicate lavender flower in May and June. It's a nice rock garden plant. This is more in the chive side of the family. This is Tangutium. Has a nice big 2-inch lavender flower in June and July.
Cool
The
foliage.
bees love them.
And we do want to talk about bees.
Yes,
sure.
the bees really, really love them. They come up really early, so you have this interesting strappy foliage now, and then you have beautiful flowers in the summer.
Great. And a sedum. You don't even think about sedums this early, but they're so cute, the foliage.
They are, and they come up early, so you have this foliage really, really early, and then of course they have beautiful fall flowers that actually hold into winter and just.
And that's for sun.
That's for sun, yeah. Both them and the alliums are sun.
And then another ferny plant.
This is another, yeah, I like, again, textures, things that look like other things that aren't those.
Sure.
This is an Artemisia Giju group. It's, a lot of people know the silver ones that are very drought tolerant.
Right. Totally different.
But yeah, totally different. This one is not drought tolerant. It's a sun lover, but it wants some regular summer water, but it's also a summer bloomer. So it ends up with 3 to 4 foot little clusters of white flowers. Sometimes I like almost the bloom process because it has these big stems that come up really slowly and then they open to these little tiny flowers.
Very cool.
But they're not real showy flowers individually, but in mass, they're very lovely and they're July, August.
Oh, nice. And then you have a collection of hardy geraniums.
I love hardy geraniums. It's one of my favorite plant groups. They're just so versatile. They're so easy. Sun to part shade on most of them. Some end up like this is one that I just love. It's Camina. It's called. It's a beautiful foliage plant. It does have hot pink flowers for several weeks, but then it's just this really nice filler in the garden.
Nice.
And then this is Ann Thompson. This is Roseanne, which are two of the best geraniums on the market. Once they start blooming, they'll bloom till fall, but until they bloom, they have beautiful foliage.
Excellent. And this one with the pink.
This is a pulmonium. It's called Stairway to Heaven. So it starts out very pink and then it'll end up to be a white and green cream with a little bit of pink and beautiful light blue flowers in May and June.
Carol, this one has pretty dramatic foliage. What's this called?
This is a ligularia. This is Brit Marie, which is the darkest ligularia in the market.
Wow.
That's another group of plants that I really, really like that I think are underused. A lot of people don't like them. The slugs get into them and they're really sensitive for water, but they're such beautiful container plants.
are.
And they actually do have a summer flower, bright orange, yellow flower in the summer, which is really nice. And then all this beautiful foliage in between.
Very nice. So you have to come out and see the other ligularias that she has here. It's a great place to come out in the garden nursery in Molalla and really come and stroll the gardens and have a lovely afternoon. Thanks so much.
Thanks for coming, Judy.
So no matter what time of year it is in the springtime, we always come out here to Wooden Shoe Tulip Farm because we love tulips, and I'm out here with Karen. Now Karen, I do have a question for you this year straight off the bat. Each time we come out here, sometimes the weather's cold, sometimes it's warmer, dry, wet, but there's always swaths of tulips that shoot up early and come into bloom. Why does that happen?
Because we want something for everybody. Part of the reason is tulips, when they bloom, we never know exactly when.
Right.
So there's usually a 3-week window when it's going to be full bloom. But the advantage of tulips is there's early tulips and there's late tulips. And there's mid-season tulips and there's very, very early tulips. So what we do is we plant varieties, some early varieties, some mid-season varieties, and some late varieties. because the weather is always, we never know what we're going to get.
Right, right.
So we can't tell you, well, gee, we're going to have 2 weeks of absolutely fabulous bloom every year at this time. It doesn't happen.
It just doesn't happen that way.
Yeah.
And then I would think that if you could do that out here at the fields, though, home gardeners could also decide and find out which varieties are early, mid, all of that, and then extend their tulip blooms at least in their own gardens.
Definitely. And we do label them that way in our catalog.
Nice.
We have single earlies and we have single lates. And so we do tell the bloom time, and we highly recommend people do that because, again, the weather isn't always cooperative.
No.
And when you're out there, I mean, I like to be out and enjoy and be with my flowers in the garden. And, you know, sometimes the early ones, it's not pretty.
Yeah,
and sometimes with the late ones, it's not pretty.
So what is there anything going on this year because of the odd weather that you've been dealing with?
We've been watching for botrytis, and that we call it tulip fire blight. And with the cold and a lot of rain, it will spread. So we've been, you know, roguing our fields, going out and pulling out any fire blight that we see to keep it clean. So a home gardener should look for spotting and dying on the ends of the leaves. And if you find that, pull it out and put it in the garbage. Do not compost it. Get rid of it. Because they call it tulip fire blight because once you get it, it can spread through everything just that quick, and it's spread by raindrops, believe it or not.
Of course it is. And we have those.
We do.
So what's happening at the festival this year? What events are going on?
Oh, wow, it's really hard to start. You know, one of the things is we're doing some wine pairings with our wine because, as you know, we have our own grapes,
Right.
and the Albarino and the Foch, and we're pairing with some interesting local groups. And we also have a group out here every weekend that are flying kites.
Oh.
So the kids, so that's kind of fun to watch. We also have a new product, and it's a CBD Red Barn hemp, and it's a product that we grow on the farm. So come out and learn about what hemp is and CBD.
Wonderful, wonderful. And for more information, we always invite you to go to gardentime.tv, and you can go to their website. You can see all the hours, all the events, everything that's happening. It's always a beautiful and fun time, no matter what the weather out here at Wooden Shoe Tulip Farm. Thank you so much, Karen.
You're welcome.
Over the 30 years that our family has been in the nursery industry, we've learned that anyone can supply a customer with plants and garden supplies. But it's supplying those plants and supplies backed by a knowledgeable staff that can transform a garden and take it from ordinary to extraordinary. That's what we do at Sagawa Nursery. Why be ordinary when you can be extraordinary? Sagawa Nursery, growing beyond the ordinary.
Since 1982, the Wall has been making local gardens beautiful, naturally. Whether you need a new wall, concrete patio, fire pit, or driveway, the Wall's expert craftsmen can build it. We back up our work with a 5-year warranty, so you'll know it'll last. We use the highest quality materials, including stamped colored concrete, natural stone, and we're the leader in using recycled concrete. Create an outdoor environment you'll enjoy for years, with the help of your friends at The Wall.
Build a beautiful home inside and out at French Prairie Perennials. Inside, we have just the right creative elements to complete your decor. We offer an oasis of unusual, nature-inspired garden and home gifts and accessories. Outside, choose from our wide selection of unique dwarf conifers and sparkling companion plants. French Prairie Perennials, located between Woodburn and Wilsonville. Take exit 278 to Aurora and French Prairie Perennials.
Welcome to Blooming Junction, where it's easy to connect with nature. At Blooming Junction, you'll find beautiful, healthy plants, good, fresh food, and a place to regain peace and calm in your life. We have an unsurpassed collection of unique and distinctive plants and the expertise to help any gardener be successful. And we feature Blooming Advantage plants. Come check out Blooming Junction for an inspiring experience in the garden or in the kitchen. Blooming Junction, offering quality plants for beautiful gardens.
So you know, it is not too early, because winter is starting to shut down, on taking care of moss that grows in our lawn. Now, we know that in the Northwest, moss really grows pretty much everywhere, but there are ways to contain it.
Now, we're just talking about moss in our lawns today, not the moss on your roof or on your patio. And you want to take care of it now while it's still cold, that the moss is not sending out spores and increasing its spread.
Now, the thing I was using was a product from Lily Miller. Lily Miller has a lot of different options. They're pretty much the same, but they're in different containers. This is a bulk product, meaning you can pour it into your own handheld sprayer or pump sprayer. This one is great if you have a small lawn, especially because you just put the hose on, spray it out that way. Now, if you do have a whole lot of lawn, you might want to think of the granular products because you can put those in a spreader and it really makes it easier. And the main thing in all of these Moss Out Lily Miller products is iron, which works very quickly and very effectively.
Now these two products are going to be organic and natural. This one is a potassium fatty acids from Bonide, and then this one is from Worry Free, and it's actually a citrus oil. Now make sure on any of these products to read the instructions so you have the best success on getting rid of that moss.
So when I tell you that this product works really quickly on moss, it's been less than 2 minutes and the moss that I sprinkled this on is already turning brown. That doesn't mean it's dead yet, but it is turning brown so you know where you're killing the moss at. And then in a couple of weeks, all you have to do is take a rake and rake it all out to prepare for seed. However, one caveat is to remember iron stains things, whether it's your walls on your house or concrete, pathways, patios. So be sure as soon as you do this, if you get it on those things, make sure to sweep or wash it off.
Now remember, these are products to get rid of the moss in your lawn. So if you like it, really leave it. But remember that in the summertime, the moss will dry out and you'll have all these brown spots in the lawn and it does get unsightly. And you can also get weeds in there. But it's always up to you what you would like for your lawn.
So for more information on these products and on how to take care of your lawn, you can go to gardentime.tv and find out a way to have a beautiful lawn that is moss-free.
For today's kindergarten segment, we are going to make seed bombs.
Now, seed bombs are really simple and they're a lot of fun to make. In fact, we have Dean here who's helping us. He's kind of our boss today. And you start with just paper and ripping it into pieces.
Now really, you can use any kind of paper. We're using scratch paper, we're using colored paper, you can use magazines, really anything. Just remember, the thicker the paper, the longer it's going to take to break down. So once we get all the paper in little pieces, we're going to put it in this water, and then we're going to wait about an hour until it breaks down, and then we'll be right back. So it's been about 15 minutes that we had the paper soaking in the water, and it's already starting to break down. So now we're going to put it in the Cuisinart and really get it mashed. So Dean, give me a hand here. We're going to put it in the Cuisinart. All right, and so we're going to put it in there because we want it as small pieces as possible to make these seed bombs.
Get all of them.
All of this stuff. Yeah, thank you. There we go. Okay, William.
All righty.
It's up to you.
Step away there. We'll plug this in now. The reason that we're putting it in a Cuisinart is because it makes sense that it's not completely soluble and crunchy yet. So we're going to completely charge it up now, and we're going to pulse this just a few times. I'm not sure why it's doing that, but it's clearly doing its job.
It's getting small. It's pulping it. Yeah.
And then once it's that way,
there you go.
You can go in, clean down the sides, get all of this down there, and then we're going to do it again.
There you go. Ah, there you go.
All right, that looks pretty much pureed. So the next thing we're going to do is start draining it out now.
I'm going to punch it again.
Yes, you are.
You get to punch the moisture out. And surprisingly, it doesn't look like there's all that much in there.
It doesn't look like anything of
So
little
that
pieces
looks like
of paper.
a slug now. Look at that one.
Yeah, it looks like, I don't know, guacamole.
All right, there you go. Guacamole. Paper guacamole. There
Okay,
you go.
Dean, help me. We're going to push all that water out. There we go.
Ow! It feels weird.
It does feel weird. It's kind of fun. And we're going to
You can do that too.
squeeze all that
Squeezing it out
water.
works.
Yeah.
Like this?
Yeah, there we go. You're a very strong little one. All right, we're squeezing out just the last of the water. Thank you, Dean. I think that's good. We're going to move that on the side. And so, Dean, give me a hand here. What we're going to do is start filling up these little discs here. This is kind of a silicone cookie disc. And you only want to fill it up halfway. We don't want to fill it up all the way to the top. So you can do that, okay? Now, you don't have to use anything as fancy as this. If you have like little mini muffin trays or even a cupcake tray, just remember not to do it so thick because you want the seeds to kind of burst out of the paper. And so we're going to...
And you can do any shape you want with
You
this.
sure can. You can do any kind of shape. And
Like
so
gingerbread cookies.
while we're... Yes, you can. So while they're doing that, we want to use these towels just to kind of push out any more moisture that are in these discs. And once we get that all filled and all of the moisture taken out as much as possible, we're going to let this rest overnight and dry overnight, and we're going to finish the project tomorrow. So now it's the next day, and our little seed bombs are almost ready, and they're dry and ready for the next step.
Now the next step is, of course, the wildflower seeds. Now, Dino, you're going to help me do this. All you do is take a little bit of a pinch and just kind of place it inside of each single little thing there for the seed to be in.
And then I'm going to come right behind them. I'm going to add more of the paper mixture right on top, and I'm going to seal in the seeds to complete the seed bomb. And then after you fill it all the way to the top, and I take my little towel again, and I'm really going to squish it down to take out as much water as possible. Then we're going to let these dry for 1 or 2 days, and then they're ready.
So now, after you let them dry, all you have to do is pop them out of the little tins that they're in, or the silicone things, walk around your garden, just toss them carelessly all over the place, wherever you might want a little pop of color of wildflowers.
Garden Time is brought to you by Portland Nursery, a passion for plants, a nursery for plant people.
Hi, I'm Sarah from Portland Nursery, where spring is our favorite time of year. It's the time to prepare your garden for planting. We invite you to get a jump on spring with our huge selection. Let Portland Nursery's staff of professionals help with groceries you can grow. We've got the seeds, veggie starts, and expertise to ensure your success. Visit portlandnursery.com for a list of classes and special events. Portland Nursery, helping make your backyard your favorite destination at 50th and Stark and 90th and Division.
Extend your growing season and escape to your own garden retreat in a Solexx greenhouse from the Greenhouse Catalog. There is nothing like the taste of a bright, red, juicy, homegrown tomato. The bright, warm, durable design of a Solexx greenhouse provides plenty of room to nurture your plants and enjoy your passion for years. Choose from 5 Solexx greenhouse models or build your own with Solexx panels. For all your gardening, greenhouse, and specialty growing needs, visit greenhousecatalog.com or give us a call.
Your garden is only as good as the ingredients you use. That's where Black Gold can help. Black Gold seedling mix is formulated for successful seed germination and strong seedling growth. Black Gold seedling mix is organic and OMRI listed, so you can start this year's organic garden outright. Look for Black Gold at your local garden center or go online to blackgold.bz. Black Gold, all the riches of the earth.
Well, I am delighted to be down here at Garland Nursery, and we're going to be talking today about gardening tools. Now, if you go into a garden center, you see all these different tools, varieties, and sometimes it can be overwhelming. So Sharon and Erica are here, and we're just going to jump right in to find out right tool, right place, and even find out some of the new kind of unusual tools they have here. So jump right in with me,
Okay,
Erica.
I'm jumping in. So my favorite tool, and the thing that I can't live without anymore, is the Root Slayer shovel. It has a nice area for you to put your foot on. It has this serrated edge on the side of it.
Wow.
And seriously, I mean, all of our gentlemen that go out and do planting, myself included, I can plant anything having this. Sharon's used it in her yard. Tell them what you did with it.
I took out a 9-year-old cherry tree.
A 9-year-old cherry tree.
A 9-year-old cherry tree in less than an hour. Yeah.
And so you're looking at some sizable roots with that already at 9 years old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well,
even better, it's ergonomic.
all right, girls, you know what you're going to have to do? You're going to have to let me get over and back for you because I got a mic here.
Okay.
So this is ergonomic.
Yes, it has
which
the O
you have a
handle.
whole line of tools that are that way
Yes,
as well, don't
absolutely.
you? So that's very helpful.
Yep. So it's amazing. Everybody should have one. It's not that expensive, so get one fast because they are selling fast.
All right, so I come in here, I got $50. Yeah. That'll do that?
This is $49.99, so you got this right here for $50.
It's that would work then, wouldn't it? So what else can I get for $50?
For less than $50?
Uh-huh.
I'll show you. So this one is close to $50, but it's only $44.99. This is the Hori Hori knife. It's Japanese. It has a measuring mechanism on the front of it. It has also the serrated edge, which is amazing. And I like the Japanese one because it stays sharper longer. The wooden handles, I've never had a problem even in the Pacific Northwest with this. It's great for planting bulbs, dividing perennials. I use it just when I'm going out and planting 4-inch annuals, anything like that.
And
I use
full
it
disclosure, I have one. I love it.
I know.
They're a great tool.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, I've had this one for, not this one, but one on my golf cart for 20 years.
Right,
The only thing that happened to it is my St. Bernard chewed on it.
It happens.
All right, so now we go down to even less expensive. So these are also Japanese sickles. If you don't have a Japanese sickle, you're crazy. So perennials, you know, in the fall when you have to cut everything back and you have your grasses and you have your daylilies and even lavender, this thing you just grab it like a ponytail and it's gone. I mean,
so they really are convenient. They save a lot of time. Rather, if you're trying to use a pruner.
Remember those days, and then you get carpal tunnel or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is by far, it's only $13.99, and this one's only $11.99. Little different angle of the blade.
Right.
Just remember when you're doing this that your hands are in there.
Right.
So the other thing that I think is important, again, for cutting is having the right saw. A lot of times you'll move into something from a pruner. This saw is from Silky Saw. It's an arborist's loving saw. They come with different size teeth, anything from extra large to extra fine. So the tighter the cut you want, the more fine the teeth you want to get.
Yeah.
And these range about $40 to $50 as well.
Nice, nice.
Okay.
And they fold up. I like that.
Yes, and they fold up and they have a little mechanism to put them in so you don't lose them or anything. Then, the other thing which most people probably know about, but I always like to tell people, if you're a real gardener and you want to have a pruner and you're never going to want to have to get one again unless you throw it in the burn pile, which I've done before, is the Felcos. They're a Swiss-made pruner. They have the best blades on them. This is a number 2. My favorite is number 8, but number 2 is probably the most popular because it fits more people's hands.
Yeah.
The number 8 has a little bit of an indent right here, so for me with smaller hands, I hold it better. The blade length is the same, but the 2 has a little bit thicker right here on this part of the cutting angle.
And I'm sure you carry a great selection of them, both the anvil and the crossbow at the same time. And you also carry the blades themselves?
Yes, we do. Replacement. Everything's replaceable.
Perfect.
And we also have a left-handed one too.
Excellent. All right, Sharon, what do you got for me?
Well, my first favorite tool is this little garden claw. It's a little cultivator. It works really well for just loosening up weeds. I just put it down in the soil, put my hand on it, and twist it a little bit, and saves the fingertips on your gloves because it loosens all the weeds ahead of time. So.
And then you have something that's really kind of unusual for us too, don't you?
Yes, my most favorite toy of all, and this is going to cost you a little bit more than the $50, but definitely worthwhile. It'll save your back in the long run. So it is called a nut wizard, and it picks up apples. If you have windfall apples, all you have to do is just in the grass you just roll over them. It comes with this handy little wire loop, and you can just put it over your bucket.
Oh, and you twist it and they fall
Give
out.
it a little twist, they fall right out into your bucket. Works well on walnuts.
Wow.
Look at that, picks up all 4 of them in no time at all.
Well, what was that?
Instead of bending over.
Instead of bending over, yes.
So the little extra that you save on this is,
really
you don't
gonna
have
help
to
your
pay
back
for
only.
your back, right?
Well,
yes.
there you have it. You know, a lot of garden centers have a lot of different tools, so we encourage you when you're around this area to come on down to Garland's, talk with the staff here, pick out something unique or something that is very functional every day in your garden, and you'll walk away and feel like a happier garden for it. Thank you, Sharon, and thank you, Erica.
Yes, that was fun.
Today I'm at Seabright Gardens with Thomas and our friend Stephanie, and we're talking about epimediums, which, you know, Thomas, I think that they're great plants. They're really underused and overlooked in the garden.
Yeah, they're really workhorses, and they're known for their foliage and their flowers.
How pretty.
They're getting to be more and more popular, but they really should be more popular than they are.
So where would we have them in the garden?
They're a shade plant again. Once they're established, they're very good with dry shade. They're evergreen varieties, there's deciduous varieties, there's early varieties, late varieties that can bloom over a 2-month period, and they're usually, a lot of them are in flower before the hostas even come out of the ground.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
And so we're going to talk about dividing them because we want everyone to have them, but we also want to know how to take care of them. So this is a good time to start dividing?
Yes, this is, well, we're getting right almost to the point to where we want to stop for a while. We like to have them when they're still dormant like this.
Okay.
This is or when they get like this here, the foliage is just coming out of the ground. They're very difficult to divide because the foliage is very brittle. You touch it and it breaks off. So you want to get them when they're still really dormant like this. And this is a variety we've gone ahead and trimmed off all the foliage already. And you can see the little shoots that are just starting to come there for this. These are the dormant buds that will come. So we can shake it out of the pot. We're cheating again with doing it in a pot.
Right. But we'll talk about the in-ground in a minute too.
You can pull them apart. Again,
shake
kind
out
of see.
Shake out all the soil.
Depending on if you really want to get particular, you can take and wash it off so you can really see. But this is where I use my trusty
you got clippers?
snips. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't use a knife on these because these are really strong woody crowns, almost reminiscent of peonies.
Oh wow.
And again, I go underneath instead of on the top, so I avoid and cut into the bottom of the crown and find a weak spot. And then just pull.
Just kind of pull, tease it apart.
Yeah, and they're a little bit more difficult in a lot of ways than hostas. But you can see all these eyes here, their potential. I can pull it right there again. There's a plant.
Oh, they're nice, and they're nice sized clumps to replant.
Yeah, they're nice sized clumps to replant. So this is what I would do if I was going to put it in a pot again. If I was just going to plant it back in the garden, probably just splitting it in half would have been enough.
Okay, because you want a good stand.
Yeah,
for
I want a
the
good
summer.
stand, but if I'm planting it in a pot for propagation, I'll probably split down like that. So I've got 5 now out of that.
Wow.
Out of that one, but you can see they're very much a woody type crown, and they're loaded with dormant buds.
And so if we had a evergreen plant, would we cut all the foliage off before we trimmed them or divided them?
That's a really good question, Judy. This is a variety we divided earlier, and this is last year's foliage right here. This
green?
This green here. The red is the new growth, and then of course the flowers is the new growth. And we left the evergreen foliage on these ones, this particular one here, before we split it.
Okay.
And the evergreen ones really like to have at least 1/3 of their foliage left.
Okay.
Some people will go through and take, you can see they come in leaves of 3 on the new stem. Some people will go through and take off 1 leaf out of each of those 3, which is fairly tedious. So I don't do that. I just go through and whack off some of the foliage. And if they're starting to show, like this one here, where they're getting close to breaking dormancy, it's all right to go ahead and take the foliage off completely on the evergreens.
Okay.
But if they're not, if you're dividing them in the fall or sometime in the summer, which you can do, then it's important to leave some of the foliage on the evergreens. They don't like to have it all removed. They need that
energy.
That energy, yes.
And then if we were going in the ground, if we had a stand in the ground, you would just kind of dig around it and lift it and divide it.
Yeah, same sort of thing like a hosta. Just take a shovel and you could dig the whole clump and cut it with a knife or with shears like this. Or just go ahead and take a shovel and slice into it and wedge a chunk off of it and do it that way.
It sounds pretty easy.
Yeah, and they come in clumpers and spreaders, and they're a really good plant.
Here at your place at Seabright Gardens, you said how many do you have?
We have over 90 varieties right now we have for sale.
Yeah, and so many different kind of flowers.
Yeah, over here in front of Stephanie, you want to hold some of these up, Stephanie, so we can see each one?
Wow.
This one here was one that comes up really early. You can see most of them bloom before the new foliage comes, and look at the heaviness of the flowers.
Sweet.
This is a really, really early variety called Versicolor.
Nice. Wow, that is
Want
just
to try
so pretty.
You get a different one? Try a different one here. That one there.
Look at the different color.
Yeah, this one here, you can see look at all the blooms that are to come yet on that, and the foliage comes up this wonderful bronze color, and then it goes green throughout the season. This is a ruby, dark beauty. What's really fun about this variety is that it sends up a second flush of growth. These leaves will turn green, and the second growth will be red again, so you have this contrasting.
Oh, wow.
Contrasting. You get another one there. Hot lips.
I love these flowers. They're like little helicopters.
Well named. Yeah, I say they look somewhat like little columbines.
Yeah, they do.
And then you get onto something like that one over there, which is one of the species. Is that Fargesii? Oh, it's Arctic wings. Okay, you can look and see the different types of flowers it has.
So pretty.
Yeah, but they're very nice, cool plants.
And I think that a new discovery for a lot of people, because they're just one of those plants that I think everybody's rediscovering. It's an old plant. It's been around a long time, but the hybridizers are really kind of going after it to kind of make them more so in the industry.
Right. Well, there was only a couple of varieties that were really in the trade much, and now there's lots of varieties and lots of selection.
Go to gardentime.tv and we'll click you over to Seabright Gardens. You come out and visit all these beautiful plants. Thank you so much, and thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you, Judy.
Little Baja is your source for a whole lot of terracotta and concrete too. From bird baths and benches to Buddhas, bears, and fountains, plus the exclusive Baja chimney, we have an amazing variety of the finest in terracotta and concrete containers. Come check out our selection of statuary for any garden theme or setting. So for something for the garden, deck, or patio, come see us at Little Baja on East Burnside in Portland. Find us on Facebook too.
Millions of tulip bulbs transform the Iverson Farm into one of Oregon's most beautiful events. The family invites you to the Wooden Shoe Tulip Festival. Explore our tulip fields and market, kids activities, and great food and wine. The Wooden Shoe Tulip Festival, open daily 9 to 6, now through April 30th.
The health and beauty of your garden starts from the ground up, and healthy soils begin at Grimm's Fuel. For the best in garden mulch, blended soils, and bark dust, choose Grimm's. U-Haul delivered or installed, Grimm's can do it. And if you're looking for a new lawn, Grimm's can do that too with our special lawn installation service. Grimm's is also the area's largest recycler of yard debris. The foundation for a healthy garden begins at Grimm's Fuel.
Come to the 16th Annual Garden Palooza April 7th at 4 Point Farms. See over 40 plant growers and garden vendors. Free parking and free admission. Enter to win a set of farm-style raised beds and containers. Garden Palooza April 7th at 4 Point Farms in Aurora. Don't miss it.
So who doesn't love to get fresh eggs from their backyard? And I'm here with Forrest at Coastal Farm and Ranch. And Forrest, I just want to give me just a few points on when people come in. I would think that they would see chicks and go, oh, chicks, they're so cute, let's get a few.
They do.
And then they take them home, but there's some things you have to do.
There's a lot besides just picking the chicks out. You got to get a waterer. A lot of people forget they need that for some reason. You got feed, that's important, medicated or non-medicated. When they're very young, we recommend the medicated. Of course, a feeder to go with the feed. When they're very young, it's a probiotic, a prebiotic, kind of like a Gatorade that we would drink, but for chickens.
And you have that's what they're actually drinking out of this container here. And then I would assume that maybe that would work for a while, but they grow.
They do, very fast.
And I'm assuming that things like this, that's not where you're going to keep them outside. No. So do you have stuff here for that as well, or information about it?
We do. We have chicken coops. You know, some people, they coop them or they free range them. It just,
depending on how the backyard is or how the place they want to graze them. And then I would think when I walked up in here before we got to this place, I saw this very large poster. Mm-hmm. There were a lot of different chickens.
There are a lot of different chickens.
And so is there reasons why you would get one variety versus another?
Some are better temperaments, some are better layers, some are more hardy in the cold climate.
So there's a lot. I mean, honestly, when I was a kid, my grandmother had a lot of chickens, but you know what? She only got them for the different colored eggs.
Mm-hmm. And there's different colored eggs. Yeah.
So there's a lot of different reasons why you really should talk to someone who knows what they're doing before you jump into
Exactly.
this.
Yeah, it's not just, like going to a dog store and getting your puppy. I mean, there's, depending on where you live, what kind of eggs you want.
And how many, I'm assuming.
And how many, yeah. And when they're young, also, they need a heat lamp as well.
All right, so from there, we know they're going to get bigger.
They do.
So where do we go from there with it?
From there, like I said, you turn them out, and it's not just there. Sometimes the chicks, like the chickens, when they're like baby chicks, they'll have problems as well.
Right.
And when those problems get here, we have everything to get you taken care of.
So that's and to me, I like that, because even as they get older, they're still going to have different things that attack them and come to them that you're going to have to deal with.
Yes.
You guys, they can come back here and say, "What's this about?" You'll be able to help them
year round.
Well,
We're always stocked up in supplies.
And that's what I like too, because when you come to a place like Coastal, first of all, it's big enough that you don't have to worry about them running out or not being there and the hours and stuff, so that's helpful. And if you really want to raise these 4 eggs especially, you want to make sure you do it right and you raise healthy chickens throughout their life. So we invite you to go to gardentime.tv and we'll kick you over to their website. They have 17 stores now, so they'll show you where all those are, they'll show the hours, phone numbers, addresses, and then you can go to Coastal and start a little chicken ranch all of your own. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Come to the 16th Annual Garden Palooza April 7th at 4 Point Farms. See over 40 plant growers and garden vendors. Free parking and free admission. Enter to win a set of farm-style raised beds and containers. Garden Palooza April 7th at 4 Point Farms in Aurora. Don't miss it.
Your garden begins here at our local farm. My grandfather and father have nurtured plants here for 70 years. We breed Northwest hardiness into every bloom, and we take as much pride in your garden as you do. So when you're ready to turn your empty space into something beautiful, we're here to help by sharing what we know, inspiring your vision, crafting plants that meet your high standards. The best gardens begin and continue to grow at Owl's Garden and Home in Woodburn, Sherwood, Gresham, and Wilsonville.
Millions of tulip bulbs transform the Iverson Farm into one of Oregon's most beautiful events. The family invites you to the Wooden Shoe Tulip Festival. Explore our tulip fields and market, kids activities, and great food and wine. The Wooden Shoe Tulip Festival, open daily 9 to 6, now through April 30th.
Well, on this beautiful day, I'm out here at the Sylvania PCC Campus College, and I am here with Melissa. Now, Melissa, first of all, before we jump into why we're here, tell me what it is you do.
So I'm the registered horticultural therapist. I'm the instructor of the Therapeutic Horticulture Activity Specialist courses here at PCC.
And this is kind of it's been planned for a while. It's been in thought process, but this is a new thing that's happening here. Tell me about it.
Yeah, so we're in the new space that is going to be the Therapeutic Learning Garden, the TLG. And this space will be transformed into a working classroom where horticultural therapy students can come and practice learning more about therapeutic gardens, working with houseplants in the greenhouse, learning more about the elements of therapeutic gardens, and taking the work that they're learning in the classroom and getting hands-on.
So, you know, we've done a lot of stories with therapy gardens with Tricia Hazen from Legacy Systems, and this is really a wonderful connection in that sense, isn't it? That this is where they can actually come get educated, they get degrees in. I mean, this really is a great follow-through for education on it.
Yes, so it's a 6-series program, 6 series in the class program, and they can come here and start their activity director's certificate and or become horticultural therapy student, and then take what they've learned on to the community settings and work in senior living, hospital settings, educational settings, adult foster homes.
So Melissa, you've actually worked with and through Legacy Systems Healing Gardens, haven't you?
Yeah, so I got my horticultural therapy registration and certificate through Legacy Health System. I finished in 2004 and have been practicing as an HTR since then. So I work in inpatient psychiatric at Unity Center for Behavioral Health. I was also a contractor in all the healing gardens at Legacy for 18 years.
Wow, wonderful.
Yeah. So I'm very familiar with how therapeutic gardens work and operate and how they're constructed and designed.
So it really is promoting, from my perspective, it is of course promoting nature and gardens, but it's also promoting the education of how that can help all kinds of people.
Oh yes, yes. Everyone can benefit here on campus. So students, staff, anyone taking the courses. Yeah,
and,
and the community can come here and enjoy this space
so
as well.
it's open to the public too, it's not just some closed campus thing.
Yep, it'll be open to all the surrounding community, all of Portland. We hope it will be a destination for people to come and visit.
Wonderful.
Once it's done.
And because every garden that is beautiful and works well has a wonderful designer, I'm going to take a walk over someplace else and meet Brian and talk about his way of coming up with this wonderful garden design. Melissa, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, well, I've moseyed over here to Brian, you are technically really a landscape architect, aren't you?
Yeah, correct. I'm a landscape architect.
So give me a little of your concepts of how you go into making a therapeutic type healing garden space. Tell me about that.
Sure. Well, in all the healing garden, therapy garden designs that we do, it really starts first from a collaboration between the people who are going to be utilizing the garden, the people who are going to be working in the garden, and myself. So it's really a collaborative design process. It's not me coming in and saying, this is the garden you should build. It's listening to how they're going to use it. So here at PCC, where they're really trying to create a garden that's a learning lab for all of the students, both in the horticultural therapy program here and the rest of the programs that PC operates, figuring out what they want to do with their students in the garden and how we can then facilitate that happening through the design.
Right, and that would, I would suspect that that could be a very difficult process, because you're not just looking at one family who has a house that they want this way. You're looking at a whole host of different people coming into this process and requiring what they need to learn from it.
And it's definitely a process. So after, we go through a series of meetings where we spend a lot of time just listening, but then we develop multiple designs. So for this space, before we came up with the final design, which we're showcasing today, we came up with alternatives to then get feedback from that team as to what elements work, what elements don't, and then that refines itself into a design where when you're working on a private residence, it's much more personal taste and style, and you get a little bit more design freedom. In this, it's much more of design challenge and problem solving.
And although you never really took classes on therapy and stuff in your landscape design process, you really have stepped up and learned yourself on what it takes to make these kind of designs.
Yeah, so in school, at least when I was in school, no one was teaching horticultural therapy, garden design. But as a landscape architect, we learn about garden design and problem solving. And in my education, to become a person who I feel can design a therapy garden, it was really talking to people who work in the field of patient care, and learning from them. So my very first project was working on the Portland Memory Garden, which is garden designed to meet the needs of people with dementia, with Alzheimer's. And that, is a very intense problem to solve, is how do you take people who have cognitive issues and bring them out safely into a garden. So that was really kind of learning by fire, but that memory garden has been built now for over 10 years and been very successful. So we've built on that through all the gardens we've designed at Legacy Health System, culminating in this garden at PCC, which is really this learning lab garden.
Well, thank you so much for your expertise on this. I find the whole process fascinating. And we are so honored to be a part of the learning gardens and how they're expanding in our world. We love doing that for you here at Garden Time. And we also wanted to remind you that with every new process, there's always some cost to that. So for more information on what you can do to help, not only financially, but also just to come out and visit this place and watch its growth over the next couple of years, we invite you to go to gardentime.tv. We will click you over to the school's website. You can find Melissa and get all the information you need to celebrate the healing part of nature. Thank you so much, Brian.
Thank you.
Create a beautiful living space both inside and out with the help of Terracasa.
Outside, you'll find pottery, fountains, and decor to make your garden unforgettable.
And inside, there are home furnishings and just the right accents to make your home warm, inviting, and most importantly, comfortable.
Terracasa has a huge selection of merchandise to fit any home or budget. Plus, we still have all the unique and distinctive gifts that you have come to expect from Terracasa.
Terracasa in downtown Damascus.
It's spring clearance time at Standard TV and Appliance.
Save up to 88% on closeouts, overstocks, floor models, and special purchases in every category at Standard, including washers and dryers, ranges, wall ovens, and cooktops, top brand dishwashers, side-by-side and French door refrigerators, and Simmons Beauty Rest mattresses. Plus, right now at Standard, save up to 87% on display and discontinued pro-style products.
Hurry, spring clearance ends soon. Standard TV and Appliance.
At Garland Nursery, you'll find
top quality plants,
4 generations of garden know-how,
fun and fantastic garden decor,
and the best in garden supplies.
Come visit us at Garland Nursery.
Since 1937, inspiring beautiful and bountiful gardens.
So I am here with Kayla at a Solexx Greenhouse, but Kayla, we're not in Brooks right now at your establishment there, are we?
No.
Tell me why we are here at the Portland Community College Sylvania campus. Why are we here with you guys?
Well, we're here for a special Spring into Nature event. And so this is an inaugural transplant event for the Therapeutic Learning Gardens that PCC is starting.
Wonderful, wonderful. So what made you attracted to working with this kind of organization?
Well, we were reached out by a professor in the department, and they asked us if we wanted to partner with them in the Therapeutic Learning Gardens. They're going to put in a greenhouse, and we are going to cover it with our Solexx material.
Oh, wonderful. So you're actually bringing this stuff that you make these with that are so light and you can carry anywhere. This product that covers them is what you're going to provide for them to do.
Exactly, and the Solexx material is specifically useful for the Therapeutic Learning Gardens because you can't see through it, as you can tell. So it yields to giving you privacy, so you don't get visually distracted from people walking by, as well as sound. If you wanted to be in the garden and really meditating, you wouldn't have, you know, the loud noises of a campus or cars driving by that would distract you.
And see, honestly, I never even thought of that, but that makes perfect sense. Of course, that's why they would use it. And then, you know, I know that there's a whole host of things that we've covered on the show that is wonderful about Solexx, but a lot of those same things they're going to be using here as well, aren't they? That's their process of it.
Exactly, exactly. So they'll be benefiting from being able to grow things earlier in the season and later in the season, so they'll be able to provide food for students on campus, as well as it'll be a place in the wintertime when it's cold and rainy, so that you can actually be in nature around green things and not, you know, get your head wet.
Well, and you know, we gardeners, we do love to garden, but all of us get sometimes a little frustrated with the cold, the rain, or the wind. So a nice big greenhouse is a perfect place for education to occur.
Exactly, and so they'll be using it for classroom setting, meeting area. It'll just be a great space to get out of the building, into nature, and really submerge yourself in plants.
And tell me about the product you use for the walls and the ceilings of this, because it really is a clever product to use in a greenhouse.
Yeah, so the Solexx material is unique because it diffuses the light really evenly, and so you get a really healthy, thriving plant, and that's going to yield to having more success in your garden and in your greenhouse. And so as a learning garden and in a place where students are going to be experimenting growing, it'll be really helpful so that it'll help them to be as successful as possible.
And then too, the good thing about it is you sell this product so people can buy it and build their own stuff with it, along with all the different shapes and sizes of greenhouses you have, and that people can come out to the Brooks location and see that at your retail area.
Right, exactly. So yeah, right at our Brooks location off 263 off I-5, we have multiple sizes of greenhouses. We have obviously a greenhouse that will fit in a community college, but we also have greenhouses that can fit in your backyard, as well as just the Solexx material, where if you want to make your own configuration, you can do that as well.
Perfect. Well, you know, if you watch Garden Time, you know how much we love Solexx Greenhouses, and we believe in them and the value they can bring to any garden. But in a situation like this, we are exceptionally proud that they are getting involved with education of all kinds of people on the wonders of gardening. It's such a delight. Thank you so much, Kayla.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching Garden Time today, and don't forget to come out to the Wooden Shoe Tulip Festival. It's going on through the end of April. It's a beautiful place to come and see all the wonderful color in the fields.
And we did want to remind you that next week is Garden Palooza, so for more information on that, you can go to gardenpalooza.com.
William and I thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week at Garden Palooza.
Come to the 16th Annual Garden Palooza April 7th at 4 Point Farms. See over 40 plant growers and garden vendors. Free parking and free admission. Enter to win a set of farm-style raised beds and containers. Garden Palooza April 7th at 4 Point Farms in Aurora. Don't miss it.
The proceeding was a paid program of the Guston Creative Group and its sponsors.